It's about time for me to put my tree up, and I need some safety tips.
Well, safety is important, okay? You're bringing a live tree in the house, extremely flammable if you're not careful. So we want to make sure we're doing this the right way. A couple things I'm going to point out to you. First thing you need to do is select a fresh cut tree. If you have a tree that's been cut down for several weeks already, it's not going to be a fresh cut tree, so it's going to dry out a lot faster. A fresh tree that has moisture in those needles is not going to support flame. It's only when it really dries out, okay? So the first thing you want to do when you go to select a tree, let me just show you here, is take the needles and make sure you can pull on them and they're soft and pliable.
So they don't fall off.
You can bend the branch over. You see how you can bend this and it's
Yes.
very soft? It doesn't break. That's a fresh tree. Evergreens naturally shed some of their interior needles this time of the year, so you'll always have some needles dropping from the inside, but you shouldn't have an excessive amount. Okay, so be careful of that. Once you select your tree, the most important thing is to get a fresh cut on the bottom of that tree. So they're cut, and then what happens is the resin in there will actually seal the bottom. So if you don't make a fresh cut, when you put that in a bucket of water or in your tree stand with water, it's not going to absorb the water up through the tree because you've sealed the bottom. So that's why it's important to make a fresh cut. You should cut anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1 inch off at least to open up those pores again. So once you put that in a bucket, it's going to absorb all that water and bring it up into the tree and keep it soft. Okay, so that's real important. We try to recommend to people, if you're not going to set the tree up right away, and this is kind of important, take it home, put it in a bucket of water as soon as you possibly can, even if you're not going to put it up right away. Because again, that's going to start to bring that moisture up through the tree, and it's going to be more prepared when you bring it in the house. Once you bring it in the house, you want to make sure you have it in a safe location. Not near a fireplace or a wood stove, not near an electric heater, right over the heater where it's going to heat up and potentially catch those branches on fire. So put it in a safe spot. Make sure it's in an area where when people are walking through passageways, etc., you're not going to knock into the tree and knock it over. Make sure it's in a good solid stand. I can't tell you how many people come in here, they buy the biggest tree and they use the smallest stand possible. It's not going to work. You need a good solid stand, okay? So make sure you have the appropriate stand that will hold water, again, once you set it up. So now you're going to take the tree out of the bucket, bring it in the house, put it in a good stand, set it up, adjust it appropriately, make sure it's standing straight, put it in a great location, and then fill it with water. That water is going to evaporate very quickly out of that bucket. So for the first several days, you're going to have to check that water daily to make sure that you're constantly replenishing that water. At some point, you'll see that that's going to slow down that intake. And then you can just check it maybe every 2-3 days, something like that. But always keep water in the stand, because if you let all the water drain out of the stand, and what's going to happen is the bottom of that tree is going to seal up again and then it won't take any more water. So that's real important. Lights. I mean, this is a lot of information, but lights. Make sure you got good lights. If you got lights that have strands that are broken or there's bare wires, don't use them on the tree. Throw them out. They're so inexpensive today. Get yourself a good set of LED lights and put some new lights on there. And that's really the best way to make sure you're safe.